to Beyond the Standard, a Grow-NJ Kids TAC podcast. This is episode 4, Creating Community in Your Classroom. I'm your host today, TAS Amanda Sloan. On this episode, I'll be talking with one of my colleagues, Laura Benbow, about the importance and value of beginning the school year with a relationship-focused lens. Laura has been in the field for 21 years in a variety of positions, including teacher, assistant director, trainer, and is now a technical assistant specialist like myself. She has recently co-hosted a webinar our TAC released called Fostering Belonging Within Our Classrooms by Connecting with Families. And that's available on our Teachable platform for you to view if you check out the link in the description. Hi, Laura. Thanks for being here. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me. I'm super excited to spend some time with you, Amanda, and talk about a topic that's really near and dear to my heart.
I'm so excited to hear your wisdom and learn from you today. I was wondering if you'd share with us why you think it's so important that programs focus on fostering a sense of community and belonging in the classroom.
Yeah, that's such a great question. One of the things that we know, right, is that children aren't able to learn unless their needs are met. So we need to have those basic needs met, safety, health, all of those pieces. And having a space where kids feel comfortable, where they feel safe, where they feel heard, feel valued, is going to allow that to happen and allow that learning to happen. And I think that that's so important. But beyond that, research tells us that children who belong in programs or have a sense of belonging in programs or are in diverse programs, they have a greater ability to understand and respect differences among people, have higher academic performances, stronger social skills, are better at problem solving, and build those problem solving skills and those social emotional skills that we know are so important for kiddos to start developing at an early age. You know, understanding that others have emotions, how to start learning how to regulate their own emotions. And we can't do that unless we're in a space where we feel safe, where we feel like we belong. So those are just a few of the reasons why this is an important topic. And a hard topic to embrace too.
No, it is. And I love that. I also think that it's so easy to forget as adults that every beginning of the school year, that classroom is brand new to them. And, you know, kind of thinking of ourselves almost as like those children and imagining it from their perspective. Like, how does it feel in here? Do I feel wanted? Do I feel welcomed? Do I understand what's happening in this classroom? Has the teacher taken the time to explain what the different interest areas are, what the roles are, what the expectations are?
As adults, we forget that we need to teach children how to do things, how to play with certain things. Well, you said the expectations, the routine, and sometimes we forget, especially going into a new school year, we remember the kids, or we leave with the kids that were just there, right? So if I'm a preschool teacher, now my kids are graduating or moving on to that pre-K class, they have skills that I've helped cultivate that entire year. And sometimes it's hard to remember that the kids now coming into my class don't have those skills yet. So we have to kind of remember to take that step back and start over, because we have a whole new group of kids that aren't there yet. And I think sometimes as teachers, I know when I was a teacher and when I was a director, that was a challenge sometimes, was to take that step back and remember, like, oh, I need to teach them routines. I need to teach them how to make the transitions. I need to teach them how to play with these new items that are in here and introduce them slowly.
Yeah, that's so true. I love that. It's such a privilege and an honor to have them come into this safe space where they hopefully feel welcomed enough and their brains are relaxed enough to be able to absorb learning and to really just have fun. I'm just glad we get to talk about this today. I know you spent, a significant time in the classroom and working in childcare programs. So do you have any specific things that you did to help foster the sense of community and belonging? Maybe you did them personally, or you've seen other teachers do them, and you'd love to just kind of share some of those ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of steps to take to help and create that community of belonging. And the first is relationships. We have to build those relationships with the families and with the children. And the way to do that is really take the time to get to
Mhm.
know them as people, who they are, what's important to them, what are their values. And so taking the time, so in the program where I was the director, we would do tours
Mhm.
ahead of time. And so asking questions on those tours, what's important to you? What do you value? What are your goals for your child? Like, what are your hopes? And really having that conversation on the front end so that I knew ahead of time how to facilitate the relationship between the family, but then also with the teacher. And then we would do what we call transition meetings before the child start, where the child will come in and spend some time in the classroom, getting to know the teacher, getting to know the children. Not all programs can do that,
Yeah.
and not all programs have the time for that. That's just something we did. But one of the things that we did that I think is important is we always created a space for the child before they got there.
Mm.
So making sure their cubby was labeled with their name ahead of time,
Mhm.
making sure all the materials that the child would need that we could provide were available before that child's first day. There was a sign on the door welcoming the family, welcoming the child, so that immediately when they come to the building on that first day, they know that we're excited that they're there. The other thing that I think is really important is making sure that they are well represented in the classroom.
Mhm.
That's going to help to create that sense of belonging for them. That's going to help them to feel like they're being seen
Yeah.
um, and valued, and that their culture and their beliefs are valued in the
Yeah.
classroom.
One thing I really enjoyed doing is I would put their picture whenever they came in for like the tour before the school year started. I would take their picture and so they could see that on their cubby. And they just loved being able to see their faces with their name. And so I thought that was a nice kind of idea to do as well. So,
Yeah, and actually, I mean, as you were saying, it is the child's classroom. It's everyone's classroom, and so one of the tips that can help create that belonging is teachers have expectations of the classroom or classroom rules and tend to create them on their own. But having the children help create those classroom guidelines and
mm,
expectations,
yeah.
that fosters that sense of community, and then it becomes our classroom, and we all work together to help um, manage that and make sure that we're all working together and working as a community rather than it being Miss Laura said so, So that's one thing that I recommend.
I think there's anything we want to kind of take away from this is that's the kind of the culture we want to have in your classroom, that it's ours, it's yours and your children's classroom. So I love that. Is there any other ideas or any other tips you would like to share?
I think the topic of belonging is so big and it's ongoing. It's never like a one and done. It's never a completed process. We're always continuing to learn and grow, and it
Yeah.
changes with the families that and the children that are in your program, and then they graduate and leave, and you have new families and programs in. So it's sort of this ever evolving concept that we always have to be thinking and intentionally working towards.
Hmm.
And we're going to make mistakes,
Right.
and sometimes and those mistakes they're not always going to feel good, but as
Yeah.
long as we learn from them and move forward with them. Maya Angelou has a quote, and I love this quote of hers, which is, we do the best we can until we know better, and then when we know better, we do better. So I
Yes.
think as long as we keep like, yeah, oh no, I didn't know I needed this in my classroom, but now I know, and I know it's important to this family, so I'm going to bring it in, and I'm going to keep striving to do better to make sure that everyone has a place where they're seen, heard, valued, and represented.
Laura, just thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course. And again, you probably heard this at the beginning, but we will link the webinar that Laura was a part of where they talked about this in just more in depth. So definitely check that out if you want some more information. We hope that after this episode, you are encouraged and inspired to intentionally start the new school year by creating community in your classroom.